Can you give us a quick overview of Norsk Media, both the components and the deployment workflow?
Yeah, sure. So Norsk Media is a low-code, no-code media server for building anything from simple to highly complex live media workflows. So I'm going to just bring up a slide which will detail a few of the types of capabilities. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but this is sort of some of the typical capabilities that people want to manipulate using within a workflow. So these might be for video transcoding and for specifically matching video types from one format to another, or it might be much more complex in building the back end for a remote production workflow. There's two components. There's the Norsk SDK, which allows you to use a low-code paradigm. So here's pretty much the simplest Norsk program that you can write. This one simply grabs an input SRT feed and defines an output WebRTC stream and connects the two together. So that's a very simple way, a low-code way for somebody who's really focused on building the user interface, the business solution, and wants to just grab some WebRTC or create some WebRTC from an available SRT source. They don't really want to go diving into codec matching and understanding all the nitty-gritty. So that's what we're trying to do, is abstract the business purpose a little bit from the media. And then there's a second stage which we're introducing at NAB in the next few weeks, and that's Norsk Studios. So Norsk Studios really takes the paradigm another step further and creates a no-code environment. So you maybe work with some defaults which we can provide into the open source studio environment, or your developers will create a palette of canvas tools for you, and then you can drag those onto the canvas, connect them up, create workflows, prototype workflows, and even get to the point where you've got a production-ready workflow designed in Studio, and then you can export that and launch that into the wider Norsk ecosystem to spin those infrastructures up, running those workflows with ultra-high availability and reliability.
How do I glue those pieces together? If you don't have a component for a business goal or a function that I need, how do I create it and how does it work thereafter?
So we'd typically go back to Norsk SDK at that level, and then within Norsk SDK you can build those that type of tooling. You can go right down to the granular detail of how to configure any third-party codec and so on. And once you've built that component exactly as you need it, you can then deploy it within the Studio paradigm, so that if the rest of your web design team need access to that function, they can just bring that into their Studio environment as a block of code, and then connect in the other elements of their workflow, and away they go. And once they're ready, once they're happy, they can deploy that back to infrastructure to run thousands of times concurrently, high availability, and all of those essential elements.
So you're creating components that you can reuse down the road. What's the
Absolutely.
open source nature? Does that help as well?
So by creating a community of people who can share tips, tricks, components, elements that they've built, workflows they've built, we hope to encourage more developers to use Norsk and to share some of those elements back. We think that's a great way for people who are adopting Norsk to show off their skills and get involved in other projects that use Norsk as well. And hopefully, who knows, over time, we may be able to introduce a marketplace or something along those lines.
So you come with a set of components that the individual developers can augment themselves, and there may also be an open source community that's going to be contributing additional components that they can build into their workflows down the road.
Exactly. We would encourage developers to do that and to explore Norsk and to help us build that core bigger and better.